From the hottest music chart toppers to non-stop entertainment news, we provide the heartbeat of your home.
What was the purpose of even sometimes getting to camp in Europe? What did we learn from that?
Bmtv, reality, conversation, culture, cinema, comedy. It is all here on Topstar channel 114. Bmtv, Zambia's light, Zambia's board. In a world of endless choices,
hello and good evening. This is BMTV Main News at 18 hours. We're live on channel 114 on Topstar Decoders. We're also live on Facebook, BMTV channel 114, on YouTube, BMTV Zambia, and of course you can catch us on stream, www.bmtvzambia.com. The top stories tonight. There is value in staying in rural areas, says BRF chairperson Mumena Mushinge. Government releases 800 million kwacha school grants for second quarter of 2026. And in international news, the UK reaffirms support for Zambia's social protection programs, while in more news, drones target Khartoum airport. Sudan alleges Ethiopian involvement. And also in sports, FAS appoints commercial and marketing advisory committee. To present the main news in detail, my name is Tamwani Nkata. Raushi Royal Foundation chairperson Mumena Mushinge has called on Zambians to embrace staying and investing in rural areas, describing it as key to economic growth and reducing congestion in cities. Our reporter, Sontua Morris Singala, has more details in the following report.
As dawn breaks, in many villages across Zambia, farmers head to their fields, children walk to school, and communities thrive on shared resources and cleaner environments. A stark contrast to the congestion and pollution of urban life. Speaking in an exclusive interview in Lusaka, Mushinge said there is a significant value in rural living, citing benefits such as clean air and sustainable livelihoods.
It depends on what, but I personally, I live in a rural area myself. I don't live in Lusaka. Today I'll have to drive all the way to Chikampata. There's more value in the rural areas. There's less competition. The air is clean. It's beautiful, really. And if you look at in Kenya, they actually have a culture. Every Friday, especially back then, every weekend, all the people would go back to their village.
He noted that continued rural-urban migration has led to overcrowding cities, contributing to pollution and climate-related challenges. Mushinge urged citizens to draw lessons from Kenya, where urban residents frequently return to their villages to invest in farming and local development.
To their home village, and they have farm plots. They develop their village. So it's a culture that the Kenyans developed for several years, and we see that also in most places in East Africa. So I think we should adopt that, and we can decongest the urban areas. There's so much value in the rural areas. There's so much value in being there as opposed to being here. Remember, it's just a perception that people want to come and come to the urban areas and run around in a very congested society with all the pollution and everything. But the rural areas
He said that this culture is common in parts of East Africa. It has helped to spur economic growth and can be adopted locally to decongest cities while strengthening rural economies.
The Ministry of Education has announced the disbursement of 800 million kwacha in school grants for the second quarter of 2026, reaffirming government's commitment to strengthening the delivery of free and quality education across Zambia. Ministry Principal Public Relations Officer Clive Kalunga said the funds released by the Treasury will support schools at all levels with essential resources needed to enhance learning. Mr. Kalunga noted that the grants are a key component in sustaining the free education policy as they help provide instructional materials, operational support and other educational inputs to improve classroom effectiveness and reduce barriers to learning. More details in the following clip.
The Ministry of Education wishes to inform members of the public that the Treasury has released 800 million kwacha in school grants for the second quarter of 2026. This funding underscores the government's continued commitment to ensuring that educational institutions have the resources they need to deliver quality learning experiences to pupils across the country. These grants support schools at all levels and align with our goal of expanding access to education for all Zambians. Funding of schools is a critical pillar in sustaining and improving the free education system by providing essential resources such as instructional materials, scholastic support, and operational inputs. These grants help reduce barriers to learning and enhance classroom effectiveness. The ministry remains dedicated to transparency and prudent utilization of funds to maximize impact for learners, teachers, and communities. This release reinforces the government's resolve to keep free education robust and accessible. With the second quarter disbursement, schools can plan ahead and procure necessary teaching and learning materials, maintain safe and conducive learning environments, and implement targeted interventions that support learners who require additional assistance. The grants also enable schools to sustain nutrition programs, support transport, and other critical services that contribute to pupil attendance and performance. Our message to parents and guardians and communities is that the free education program remains a national priority, with these resources enabling us to deliver on the promise of quality.
The United Kingdom has reiterated its commitment to supporting Zambia's social protection programs, particularly times of global economic shocks. British High Commissioner to Zambia, Rebecca Terzion, praised Zambia's social protection systems, describing them as world-class and effective in responding to the needs of vulnerable citizens. She said the UK stands ready to provide emergency assistance aimed at improving the lives of the poor and vulnerable people. Speaking during a breakfast meeting with Minister of Community Development and Social Services, Doreen Mwamba, Ms. Terzion commended the government for successfully implementing programs that are currently benefiting over 1.5 million households nationwide. She added that the UK government remains prepared to step in with emergency support whenever necessary to help cushion vulnerable communities from socio-economic shocks. Meanwhile, Ms. Mwamba has assured that government is technically prepared to effectively implement any support provided, ensuring that assistance reaches those most in need. She also expressed gratitude to the UK for its continued partnership, describing it as an all-weather friend in Zambia's socio-economic development efforts. The Ministry of Health, through Dr. Alex Katakwe, has officially, at the commemoration of the International Midwives Day in Mongu District, opened. Reading the speech on behalf of the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema, Dr. Katakwe emphasized the critical role midwives play in strengthening the country's healthcare system, particularly in maternal and neonatal care. He noted that midwives remain at the front line of ensuring safe deliveries and reducing maternal and infant mortality rates across Zambia. Dr. Katakwe further reaffirmed government's commitment to supporting midwives through improved working conditions, training, and deployment, especially in rural and undeserved areas. He also called for continued collaboration among stakeholders to enhance maternal health care services and ensure that every mother and child has access to quality health care. The commemoration brought together health professionals, traditional leaders, and members of the community to celebrate the dedication and resilience of midwives in Zambia. More details in the following clip.
I am honored to join you today in commemorating the International Day of Midwives under the important and forward-looking theme, 1 million more midwives. Let me begin by expressing my deepest appreciation to all midwives across Zambia. You are the quiet heroes of our health system. Every day, often under very difficult circumstances, you stand beside mothers and newborns at one of the most critical moments of life. When a mother survives childbirth, when a newborn takes its first healthy breath, and when a family celebrates the arrival of a new life, behind that success, there is almost always a midwife. On behalf of my government and the people of Zambia, I say thank you for your service, your dedication, and your compassion. Kudos to the midwives. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this year's theme, 1 million more midwives, is a powerful global call to action. It speaks to the urgent need to invest in midwives as a critical pathway to improving maternal and newborn health outcomes.
Republican President Hakainde Hichilema has paid a courtesy call on Barotse Land Paramount Chief His Majesty Luwosi Imwiko II at the Lealui Royal Establishment in Limulunga. The engagement held in Western Province forms part of the President's continued efforts to strengthen traditional leadership ties and promote unity and development across the country. During the meeting, President Hichilema reaffirmed government's commitment to working closely with traditional leaders in advancing socio-economic development and addressing challenges affecting local communities. And speaking during the courtesy call, the Litunga Luwosi Imwiko II expressed appreciation for the President's visit, describing it as a demonstration of respect for the Barotse Royal Establishment and the people of Western Province. The traditional leader further emphasized the importance of sustained collaboration between government and traditional authorities in fostering peace, cultural preservation, and development in the region. More details in the following clip.
Silhouette. Opening up to some extent on the other side, Sishikano, and other places. For the Zibulozi, it's a very great time, happy time for this region of our country. The Rosland of our country. We will be doing some other work in the health sector there, and also we go to Sioma on the agriculture side. We touched on agriculture today. I won't spend time to respond to each of the issues Sophie has raised. For non-Moses, we call this Mandela, Prime Minister Sophie, so many titles. Yes, so we're grateful, Your Majesty, that Sophie has raised these issues of development, education, infrastructure are very important. Obviously, economic issues, agriculture, and many of the things that is covered. We would like to simply say, let us share that list, Prime Minister, of the issues you raised.
The Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants, ZICA, has cautioned that the government's decision to suspend fuel import taxes may undermine recent fiscal gains as Zambia continues to navigate external shocks linked to global oil price volatility arising from the US-Iran conflict. Speaking at a quarterly economic briefing, ZICA President Yande Siame Mwenya said Cabinet's decision to zero-rate VAT and suspend excise duty on fuel imports, though intended to stabilize prices, has effectively reintroduced subsidy-like pressures on the national budget. She warned that the resulting fiscal gap could threaten key budgetary allocations, including 7.65 billion kwacha for social cash transfers, 26.2 billion kwacha for health, and 33 billion for education in the 2026 national budget. More details in this clip.
Only by internal ZRA customer service mechanisms. For a statutory Bill of Rights to be effective, violations must trigger actionable remedies. In jurisdictions such as the United States, the Taxpayer Bill of Rights is codified, and violations can form the basis for legal challenges. In South Africa, the Promotion of Administrative Justice Act provides a legal framework that regulates how the Revenue Authority exercises its power, ensuring lawful, reasonable, and procedurally fair action. Zambia does not have a direct equivalent to this, making the creation of a specialized enforcement mechanism, the tax ombudsman, necessary to give effect to the proposed statutory taxpayer rights. The modernization of Zambia's tax landscape through a Unified Tax Administration Act is a vital evolution in the state's capacity to mobilize domestic resources and participate in the global economy. However, granting the ZRA consolidated powers without corresponding checks and balances creates a potentially problematic asymmetry. The assertion that existing institutions are sufficient.
The Patriots for Economic Progress, PEP, has raised concern over what it describes as growing threats to democracy or worsening poverty levels as the country approaches the 2026 general elections. Speaking during a media briefing, PEP President candidate Chanda Katotowe said delays in payments to farmers coupled with inconsistent access to agricultural inputs are negatively affecting confidence in the sector, particularly among small-scale farmers who depend on seasonal income. Katotowe emphasized that agriculture remains a key source of livelihood for many Zambians, warning that failure to pay farmers promptly after crop deliveries disrupts household incomes and discourages continued participation in farming. He further called for strengthened adherence to the rule of law, improved farming support systems, and the safeguarding of democratic processes to ensure credible elections. More details in the following report.
It's like breathing. All of us are breathing. The moment somebody starts waking up and say, today I'm breathing, just know that one is sick. Because it's a natural situation. We are not supposed to be feeling today yourself that you're breathing. So when you start feeling the rule of law, just know there's a problem. There's a problem. In this space, as we go for elections, our donor community, the European Union, among others, and the UK, must raise their hand and ensure that we have parity and justice ahead of this year's general election. They cannot just be watching, the obliteration of the rule of law. Our donor community within SADC, within Africa AU, they need to be alive that Zambia, it's a global village. We belong to a global village, and there's a standard norm of governance which is accepted across countries, including within SADC and AU. So our appeal is that we should not have a scenario where our cooperating partners turn a blind eye when atrocities, are being committed. Our cooperating partners, like they've done in the past on previous governments, they've raised their voice, they've raised their hand when they've seen anything which is injustice. Similarly, in this regime, we expect them to do the same thing. That's what justice demands. Lastly, before I bring the incoming Republican Vice President.
Meanwhile, PIP leader Sean Tembo announced the introduction of a simplified and low-cost candidate application process. He said the initiative is intended to broaden participation and give more citizens an opportunity to contest the 2026 general elections. The party maintains that inclusive governance, electoral integrity, and economic stability remain central to addressing the country's current challenges. More details from this report.
It is only after we've reviewed your documents and we've made a determination that you qualify to stand for the seat you wish to stand for, that you shall then be eligible to make an application fee, to pay an application fee. We have pegged our application fees at a level that is affordable, and that is premised on our interactions with the masses, of course across the country, and most recently in Eastern Province, where we've seen the levels of economic hardship that are there, and the willingness of people to want to stand to leadership positions. So we do not want the issue of finances to act as a bottleneck to those who wish to aspire for various leadership positions. So for applications, those who are aspiring to stand as members of parliament will be required to pay an application fee of 1,000 kwacha. 1,000 kwacha, MPs. Followed by those who want to stand as mayors or council chairpersons. Mayors and council chairpersons will be required, mayors will be required to pay 500 kwacha. Council chairpersons will be required to pay 250 kwacha.
We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with international news. Please do stay with us.
New vibes with Bmtv. Get ready, Zambia, because Bmtv is about to bring you the hits with local stories, drama, comedy, and news that is all about you. Local vibes only. Catch stories from Lusaka to Livingston, towns to villages, Zambian stories told by Zambians. Drama and entertainment from townships to trending shows. We have the best local content. News that you care about. Local news, national pride, and what's happening in your hood. Your stories, our spotlight. We feature you, your talents, and your passions. Tune in now and let's vibe, Zambia. Bmtv, Zambia's light, Zambia's voice. New vibes with Bmtv. Get ready, Zambia, because Bmtv is about to bring you the hits with local stories, drama, comedy, and news that is all about you. Local vibes only. Catch stories from Lusaka to Livingston, towns to villages, Zambian stories told by Zambians. Drama and entertainment from townships to trending shows. We have the best local content. News that you care about. Local news, national pride, and what's happening in your hood. Your stories, our spotlight. We feature you, your talents, and your passions. Tune in now and let's vibe, Zambia. Bmtv, Zambia's light, Zambia's voice.
Welcome back. You're still watching the BMTV main news at 18 hours. And now for international news. A drone launched by Sudan's paramilitary forces targeted the airport in Khartoum on Monday, but was shot down before it could hit the target, airport officials said. Sudan accused Ethiopia of being involved in the assault. It was the latest attack in the deadly war in Sudan, now in its fourth year, which has pushed the country to the brink. The attack comes just days after the paramilitary rapid support forces killed at least 5 people in a drone attack that hit a civilian vehicle on the outskirts of Khartoum on Saturday. For more details, we monitored African News.
Sudan's accused Ethiopia and the United Arab Emirates of being behind a drone attack on Khartoum airport on Monday. It's previously accused both countries of supporting the paramilitary rapid support forces, which has been fighting the army for over 3 years. A series of assaults in recent days has shattered months of relative calm in the capital, which was recaptured by the military last year. The drone's data were analysed, and we asked the manufacturer, and it reveals the following. The S-88 drone belongs to the UAE and was used from Ethiopia at Bahir Dar Airport. What the UAE and Ethiopia have done is a direct act of aggression against Sudan and will not be met with silence. Our armed forces are fully prepared to deal with any threat. The military says the drones were downed, no one was wounded and no damage was done. The airport's reopening last year was part of...
And in more international news, the US should be wary of being dragged back into a quagmire. The Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has warned as US President Donald Trump's plan to free ships stuck in the Strait of Hormuz threatens the US-Iran ceasefire. Trump said in an interview with Fox News on Monday that Iran would be blown off the face of the earth if the country attacks US vessels during Project Freedom. But Iran insists that it controls the strait and fired missiles and drones at military and commercial ships, according to the US. More details as we monitored the BBC.
And we start in the Middle East with concerns mounting. The fragile ceasefire between the US and Iran is under severe strain. President Trump said on Monday the US has struck 7 Iranian small boats as it works to open the Strait of Hormuz, severely constricted now for over 2 months. The UAE and South Korea both reported strikes on ships in the vital channel on Monday, and the UAE also said a fire broke out at the oil port of Fujairah after an Iranian attack. But the shipping company Maersk told the BBC one of its US-flagged vessels had successfully left the strait crisis. In recent hours, the White House has released a statement saying that the United States is undertaking a humanitarian initiative to restore freedom of navigation for commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, while maintaining a successful naval blockade on Iranian ports, asserting United States dominance over the waterways. Here's the president speaking on Monday evening at the White House.
They have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment, they have no radar, they have no nothing. They have no leaders, actually. The leaders happen to be gone also. But can't let them have a nuclear weapon, or you'd have problems like nobody would believe, and it's going very well.
Well, Jacob Larson is Chief Safety and Security Officer of the Baltic and International Maritime Council. It's the largest association of ship owners in the world. I asked him for his take on the situation.
We'll take our second and last commercial break. We'll be back with sports news.
There's only one destination that brings the entire spectrum of entertainment into focus. This is Bmtv, where your world comes to life.
I'm 100% okay.
Maybe you can try and help me by buying a dog so that we are the two of us.
Experience the human stories that everyone is talking about, from the unscripted dramas of our premier reality hits to the moments that move us. We capture life as it happens, authentic and unmissable. Stay ahead of the curve with the BMTV talk show lineup. Join the conversation as we dive deep with the icons of today, bringing you exclusive interviews, expert insights, and the perspectives that shape our culture.
We're proud of you. You've done so well on pushing the works out there, raising our flag.
When it's time to escape, our original scripted series deliver world-class storytelling, compelling characters, breathtaking cinematography, and the kind of drama that keeps you on the edge of your seat, episode after episode.
You refer to me as a whore.
So it's true you can get someone out of the ghetto, but you can't get the ghetto out of their mind.
And when the weekend arrives, we bring the cinema to your living room. Saturday night movies on BMTV. The biggest local blockbusters and timeless classics presented exactly the way they were meant to be seen.
What if it is true? What if someone did kill my father?
From the hottest music chart toppers to non-stop entertainment news, we provide the heartbeat of your home.
What was the purpose of even sometimes getting to camp in Europe? What did we learn from that?
BMTV, reality, conversation, culture, cinema, comedy. It is all here on Topstar Channel 114. BMTV, Zambia's light, Zambia's board.
Welcome back, and now for sports news. The Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, has appointed a commercial and marketing advisory committee as part of the ongoing efforts to strengthen its financial position and broader revenue streams. The committee has been constituted following a resolution of the FAZ Executive Committee at its last sitting and is aligned with the association's strategic objective of enhancing commercial sustainability and promoting investments. Established as an ad hoc body in the accordance with FIFA provisions, the committee will focus on FAZ commercial activities, which include sponsorship, investments, and marketing initiatives. Appointed pursuant to Article 50 of the FAZ Constitution, the 17-member committee brings together professionals from diverse sectors who will provide guidance on the association's commercial direction. So far, there are 16 members, with 17th member expected to be announced in due course. The members include Mizinga Melu, banker and chief executive officer at the Absa Bank Zambia, Bridget Kambobe, marketing and communications expert, Hazel Kuvaris, customer experience director at Zamtel, Brian Siatumbi, head of corporate affairs at Concola Mines, Webster Malido, journalist and chief executive officer at the Independence Broadcasting Authority, IBA, as well as Eugene Piri, marketing communications expert. Others are Jito Kayumba, advisor to the president for finance and investment, Lewis Mosho, prominent Lusaka lawyer and financial markets expert, Sembe Chivalanga, accountant at the Copperbelt Energy Corporation, Lee Kawanu, proprietor of Kafue Celtics Football Club, Marcus Ascot, Lusaka businessman, and Moses Mubanga, football administrator and construction industry expert. The list also does include Milingo Lungu, Lusaka lawyer and businessman, Tarak Meta, futsal expert and Lusaka businessman, Solomon Ngoma, policy expert, and Katongo Chilufia, lawyer and corporate communications expert. The appointment takes effect from 1st May 2026 and will run for a period of 24 months in line with terms of reference, unless otherwise determined by the FAZ Executive Committee. Njanga Rangers stunned Nkana Football Club with a narrow 1-0 victory in a tightly contested MTN League Week 31 encounter played over the weekend. Elsewhere, Green Eagles produced a dominant performance, beating Mufulira Wanderers 2-0 to strengthen their position on the log. Kabwe Warriors secured a hard-fought 1-0 win over Napsa Stars in a match that saw both sides battle for control, but the hosts made their advantage count. Meanwhile, attention now shifts to upcoming fixtures set for tomorrow, with several crucial matches lined up across the country. Konkola Blades will face Topstar Stars, while Kabwe Warriors take on Zesco United in what promises to be a thrilling encounter. The Green Eagles will battle Power Dynamos as they look to maintain their winning momentum. Nkwazi Football Club are set to host Kansanshi Dynamos, while Mfulira Wanderers will be hoping to bounce back when they face the Red Arrows. These fixtures are expected to have a significant impact on the league standings as the season approaches its final stages. More details from the following clip.
I think first and best, I always appreciate both for this result. Coming to the result, to the question, I think Power Dynamos remaining with they need the points for them to become the champions. I think they have had a very good run. So for us, until we are completely knocked out, that's when we are going to give up. Otherwise, coming to today's game, I think disappointing results for us. And again, a result that we outsaid. We have not been beaten by Mutondo, but the referees has beaten us because the ball that Mutondo scored us, I think the ball did not go out. And again, if there was a foul, he would have gone. But he opted to give a corner to Mutondo, and that's how Mutondo scored us. Because even the reaction from our players, they thought it was a foul, but to our surprise, he gave Mutondo a corner, and that's how Mutondo managed to score us. I think it's just about the rotation. It's about the rotation. You saw, I think, after the break, we tried to make some changes just to ensure that we manage the players. We are remaining. We've got another game before we play the final.
Well, viewers, that is all we had for you in tonight's bulletin. But before we go, let's take a recap of the stories that are making headlines. There's value in staying in rural areas, says BRF chairperson Momena Mushinge. Government releases 800 million kwacha school grants for second quarter of 2026. UK reaffirms support for Zambia's social protection programs. And in international news, drones target Khartoum airport. Sudan alleges Ethiopian involvement. And in sports, FARS appoints commercial and marketing advisory committee. On behalf of the production team, Aldrich Kampamba on transmission, Douglas Manda on camera 1, and Jackson Tembo on camera 2. In the newsroom, Ruth Msakawantu as well as Sontwa Morris Sinkala. This has been Tamani Nkata. Do have yourselves a pleasant evening and continue to watch BMTV.
Fresh Out Media. Mr. Mainza Chifunga Ababuzade Na chimina barokola mufire muchikwate Gemkweba Diarot, it's me again. Okoningalo matakulinga teimwe ngafwenene Uwalombere mwali mupera wakonkonza sheku chivina wali iswirwa Chivukishani naine narusha lyonzana makanje nasunga naine Ndachomwana swete kwabula swete Swati ya njiyari kama